Hello everybody, this is Travis. Welcome to Razor Garage. Today we've got the Razor 800 here, and I'm going to show you my new lift that I built, and show you how that works, because I don't like crawling around on the floor all the time. In the lift, you know, just like working on a car in a professional type garage or your home garage. If you have a lift, you don't like, nobody likes crawling around on the floor. So I built a lift. We'll show you how that works. Now we're going to move to the back of this. We're going to replace some axles. We're going to replace the axles and rear brake pads. The axles aren't completely bad. They're starting to click a little bit. They're about 12 years old. So just going to replace them. Don't want any failures or breakages out on the trail. So first of all, we're going to lift it. Now you have to make sure it's centered on the lift. Now I already have done that. Just pretty much, you center the lift on the bottom on the frame, and down here we have an air over hydraulic pump. I got the air line hooked up to it, and that powers the hydraulics, and it gets you down, I guess there. That doesn't look too bad, and we're going to lift it up. Now the air compressor is going to kick on, so you're going to hear that. Now I can go a little bit higher with it. I got about 8 inches till I hit the garage door, but I got the tape measure here. That puts the center of the wheel at about 35 inches. Bottom of the tire is about 21. And when you're working, that gets you, right here at arms, shoulder height just about. So everything's pretty good to work on. I haven't had to use it a lot, but the last time I actually had to use it was for this machine. I didn't do a video, but I had to rebuild the front differential, and I put new front axles in, and a ball joint, and new brake pads, re-greased the wheel bearings, general maintenance kind of thing, because you got it apart, you might as well do everything. But that puts it up real good for working. You ain't got to get down on the floor a lot, except maybe put the wheel back on. You got to get down, you got to pick the wheel up and put it back on, but that's not a big deal. Well, we'll get the camera over here and I'll show you the lift. Okay, we started, I showed you the air hydraulic pump. That's a 10,000 PSI unit from Amazon. It was a super good buy, super good deal. Now, we have a well, it's actually a double action cylinder, because I couldn't get a single, but I just ran the hose to lift it, and I plugged it where the hose would go to power it down, because it doesn't need to power down. It'll come down all by itself with the weight of the machine and the lift. Let's come around over here. Now, I chose to build mine with a frame on the bottom. That way, the rollers on the bottom of the scissor, okay, I welded these plates onto the frame, so the rollers ride on these plates and not on the concrete, which would damage the concrete. And you know, I like to try to keep from ruining my floor. Now, this frame, this lift is all made out of 1/4 inch wall, 2 inch square tubing. That's what the frame, the lift arms, and I put some angle gussets on the top of the scissor. Wanted some angle on for just a little extra strength, because when I first tried it, I got about 1/4 inch of deflection off of the arms. It was about 1/4 inch of deflection, and so I just welded that angle on there. Now there's no deflection at all anywhere. It lifts it right up. Now, what the machine's actually sitting on, we have some 1/4 inch thick 6 inch channel, and then I welded on the side to make it a little bit wider, so the frame sits right on it like it should. I welded another piece of 2 inch square tubing on the outside. Now there's another set of cast iron rollers up inside here that ride on the bottom of the channel, and there's the hinge point, and there's the hinge point for the cylinder and the scissor. And it's pretty solid. It doesn't bleed off at all. Holds the machine up. I have lifted the Pro XP with it several times. That's what, you know, when I was building it, I had, you know, I keep the Pro XP in here, and the 800 lives in the shed. But so I was testing it with the Pro XP. It's a heavier machine. It's bigger, and as you saw when I just lifted this, there was no struggles at all. Now, to move this, here in the back we have some cast iron wheels, and as it sits now, there's no weight on them, but I have like a handle that you put in the front, and it has 2 caster wheels on it, and you put it into these 2 holes. I can't show you that now because the machine's on it, but it locks into those 2 holes, and you pull it down. It lifts the front of it up, and the weight goes on the casters in the front, and it lifts it just enough that then the casters in the back rest on the floor, and you can roll it around and put it wherever you want it. I don't know, I think it took me like 3 weekends to build this, and had to make some changes as I went. Not a lot. Wasn't a hard build. I just had to look at some pictures of some other ones, and just, yeah, it's pretty simple to make actually. And it's way more affordable than ordering one. You know, if you look these up online, these can get very pricey. Now, all the stock, all the steel I had, the only thing I had to buy was the cylinder and the hydraulic pump, and well, that's it. I guess it. As you can see, as you saw, it lifts it. It lifts it up. If you have any questions about the lift, or if you're thinking about making one yourself, don't be afraid to ask me questions in the comments. I will answer them. I don't look at comments as often as I should, but when I see them, I do answer, as long as it's a reasonable type question. If it's something silly or obvious, you know, I won't, but well, maybe everything's not silly and obvious to everybody. So any questions on if you want to make your own lift, just ask and I'll answer you. So we'll get the camera moved around here and set up, and we'll start on the project portion of this video. I like them mud lights aren't super heavy. And I didn't remember when I changed the brake pads on the back of this last, and I didn't have it wrote in my little logbook. It's a good thing I ordered them. Yeah, you know, them would have been good for a couple more rides, but we're going to change them, like I said. I got some mud here that I didn't get off. Okay, so we're going to take the brake caliper off, and we got to get the axle nut off, and then we replace that. Well, we got new axles, so we got new pin, new nut, we got everything. We'll take this nut off first. Anytime you pull one of these out, always replace it. You don't want to put a used one in. Upe. Garbage. I don't know if this one will break that loose. I might have to get the air one out. Well, I'll be darned. It sure did. Okay. We're going to take the caliper. They're not heavy. You know, you can leave that hang. Now, as long as your wheel bearing is good, you should just be able to do this and pull that right out. You shouldn't have to hammer it or do anything. It should come right out. Now, lucky for me, this one is permanently stuck in loosening. So, I have to replace that. I keep forgetting to replace that one. Now, these top ones are both 15 millimeter. Yeah, this is nice being up this high. Don't have to crouch. We're gonna leave the bolt in till we get this broke loose. Yep, we're gonna go that way. It's nice having the little cart too. I just recently made that out of some stuff I had laying around here. So we don't lose the nut, I like to put it back on the bolt. And those go through that way. So I'm gonna lay them in the cart facing the way they go in. And now we're gonna find a hooky place up here. And I wrap my coat hanger up there and hold this upper arm out of the way. Now these get, sometimes I pull these apart trying to get them out. It's hard to get in there. And I can't turn it because I have it in gear apparently. Okay, why can't I turn it? I like to try to get a little WD-40 down in there and let it soak a little bit, because sometimes they don't want to pop out. And like I said, I pull them apart. I'd rather not pull it apart. I'll leave it set a little bit. Okay, now we're gonna lift this up, try to hold this straight, wiggle it a little bit. We're gonna push it in. We're going to push it in, and then we're going to pop it right out of there, just like that. That's how it's exactly supposed to go. Imagine that. Oh, wow. Super. I got to go unpack the new one. Okay, we're going to roll the cart over here so we can see the end of this axle shaft, and we'll pan down. So now before I put these in, I like to take some anti-seize, because I like to use anti-seize as it's become quite a habit in my field of work. We put anti-seize on everything, because anti-seize is cheaper in the long run than the extra work you'll have to do if you don't. So we're just going to gob that up with anti-seize. Now this is copper flake anti-seize. Now you can't really see that label. That label is all trashed up. But this is from PPE. That's plastic process equipment. Now you don't have to be a business or a company to order from them. You know, we get stuff from them from work, but I also order from them here at home too, because they have, you know, this stuff is worth its weight in gold sometimes. I like to put that on there. Yeah, I don't have a lot of room to move my picky over here. Oh, my camera pod wants to move, and we're going to just take, and I hope you can see this, we're just going to put a little bit inside there as well, just to help it go together, because we got nice new metal, nice new shiny parts, and that's nice and not worn out in there. And like I said, down the road, if I want to take that out, it's going to be more than likely to just come right out, like you saw me take the other one out. I just spray that WD-40 on as an extra precaution. So we're going to take that, move that. we're gonna take this over yonder. Now it has a new snap ring. There's the snap ring's already installed on here. So we want to get that in there and line it up in the spline and pop her in. I have some grease in an anti-seize bottle because it's got the brush on it. Makes it nice to apply. Now this is, I use mobile grease. It's mobile grease, XHP 222. It's a waterproof, it's an industrial grade waterproof lithium compound grease. It's super good. It's waterproof. You always want to use waterproof, anything industrial or marine that is waterproof. Don't just use that crappy green lithium grease. That's not it. You want to spend a little extra money and buy nice grease. Goes a long way. So I'm going to take, I always grease everything up. I don't use anti-seize out here because, like I said, this is waterproof grease. And I get them splines, get that shaft, get your threads, get everything. Don't skimp. It's not going to hurt. Because as you saw when I took it apart, there was still wet grease inside of it. Or maybe you saw. And we're going to take and we're going to slide that in there. We're going to get that in there. And our bolt goes this way. I'm not going to tighten it yet. We're just going to get that in there. We're going to take our coat hanger off of there. We're going to get our bolt ready. Oh, bushing is sticking out. And you know, it would be nice if these knuckle pivots had grease fittings on them. You know, Polaris dropped the ball on that, and I haven't put any on myself. Now, like I said, these are 15 millimeter, and this one is stuck in one position. So now we got to flip it the other way, and we'll flip that the other way. Now, I don't know what the torque spec is, but you don't want them to come loose. So you tighten them without breaking them, because I broke one on the other side and had to put a new bolt in it. I don't like to use power tools putting stuff back together. As you saw, I didn't use any taking it apart other than to take the wheel off. So, those are tight. Okay, with our our knuckle is tight, as you saw. Now, the RZR 800, you need two of these that are different sizes, because the back wheel bearing is a different size than the front one, so you need two of these. Now, this is Tiger tool, bearing greaser. If you go back through my videos, if you want to, you'll see a video on this. But if you don't want to, we'll do it again now. So you take this little puppy and you work it in there. And it's got a grease fitting on it. And you lock your grease fitting on. Now this is the same grease that I just showed you, the ExxonMobil. We'll go a pump. We'll turn it. We'll do a pump. Turn it. Do a pump. Turn it. Do a pump. Turn it. Okay, now I hear grease coming out the back of it. I don't know if you heard it. We're going to go another pump. Turn it. Another pump. Turn it. Okay. Now, if you see grease coming out around your seal, you know it's full. Or if you can hear it, I was hearing it coming out the back seal. And we're just going to, now that we put, what, 4 or 5 pumps in it, we're just going to rotate. That's rotating the bearing. Get that grease in there. Now, pro tip here, if you're putting new bearings in, grease them. You know, brand new one out of the package. When I did the fronts on these, I put new ones in, like you do. And I put the greaser in, and I got like 16 pumps of grease and a brand new bearing before the grease started coming out. So there was like 2 squirts of grease in it, probably, if that much. So always grease them. I do these at least once a year, sometimes twice if I got nothing to do. I'll pull it off, take it apart, and grease them, because these bearings have been in for 4, maybe 5 years, and I greased them once a year, and they haven't gone bad. Have not gone bad. Then you pull that puppy out of there. Okay, I'm gonna put, this is a little extra. We're just gonna put a little extra in here. A little extra on there. And you want to take your hub assembly, line it up on the spline. Lift it and push it in. We'll put our new thrust washer in. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Try to hold it. It's bent one way. It's cupped this way. So you put the high side out. Put your nut on there. So I have room. Yeah, I was really surprised with this Harbor Freight there. I didn't think it was going to take that off. So we'll just put her back on. Till we get a cotter pin hole lined up. Come on, little more Dugas. Okay, we got a cotter pin lined up. So, and we will stick yonder pin in. And we're gonna take pull that around. We're gonna just pull that side down. So there's plenty of room in there. The hub of the wheel will cover that. There, axle done, bearing greased. Now we're going to move on to the brakes. Okay, you have your brake caliper off. You have a set screw Yeah, it doesn't turn that much. There's a set screw in the back of here. You'll want to, that's 5mm. Don't lose your set screw, because you got to put it back in. Okay, now with the set screw out, now we can move the caliper frame the whole way. And we need that because we got to get these brake. You squeeze this back, you hold it back, you take one side out, flip it out. Now we're going to leave the back one in for right now. Sometimes stuff is tough to do for the camera. We got a C-clamp. There's not a lot of pressure on these. You don't have to. And just use the old pad to push the piston back in until it stops. And you do the same thing. Hold your brake frame back the whole way. Pull it out. These can be tough sometimes. Sometimes they're not. Just pop them off like that. Brake pad installation. And then you just you make sure you get that little blade of grass out of there. And you make sure you put them in the right way. The pad material goes to face the disc. Sometimes these can be hard to get on. I don't know why they got to make a square hole for a round pin. They're annoying sometimes. You got to get that in there. The old ones always come out easier because there ain't no pad left on them, or they're worn down enough that you just got enough room. And there you go. They can be a bugger. No, see, the brake pad goes to the inside. We hold the frame back. We're going to hook that over. The outside one goes on easier because it does. We're going to push our frame back so the outside pad don't fall off. And we're going to reinstall that little set screw that keeps your brake frame from moving. Don't crank it in there because you'll limit the movement of your brake frame as your pads wear. Okay, and then we're going to take that. And we're going to just put that back on there. And get our... I try not to do this in front of the camera, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And then just move your caliper till the bolt hits the hole, and just finger it on in there. Yeah, those were 13mm. We're going to flip the little switchy. Not super tight yet. I want to get them both in. Now we can tighten them without breaking them, because these aren't super big. But tight enough that they don't come out. And that's it. Now after I get the other side done, I'll pump the brake pedal till they come back out and they're tight. So now we got a new axle, new brake pads, fresh grease. I like to put them so the lug nuts are squarish. Now's the only part I have to bend down here so I can see what I'm doing. Put it in park and that's that. That's one done. I'll do the other. Now this one's all ready to ride for the season. Like I said in the beginning, I did the whole front end in the fall of last year, so we'll let it down. Now I like to, now you can just step on this with your foot, but I like to release it with my hand because I can moderate it easier. Because if you just let it go, it'll just go. So I just like to let the pressure off of it real easy until the machine is down on the ground. And then the lift is down. But that, as they say, is that. This project is done. Now I got to get it out of here and put it back in its home. We're not taking this one tomorrow. We're taking the Pro XB. And well, that's about that. And y'all have a good day. I hope you learned something. I don't know what else to say. That's about it. So I'll see you out on the trail and y'all have a good day. And I'm out.